Is pizza post-workout a good meal? Now, I don't know if this is a troll question or an actual legitimate question, but I'm going to answer it like it's a legitimate question from someone that is seriously asking. Now, the reason that they might think or presume that pizza is a good meal post-workout is simply because of the hype word around dirty bulking and having lots of calories post-workout. For example, burgers or pizzas is very anabolic and it'll help you gain muscle. So you can argue this from 2 points of views, I reckon. You could argue that yes, having pizza post-workout, providing it's got enough protein in there, could be good because it's a lot of calories, it's a lot of carbohydrates, and it's a lot of sodium, all which are important for muscle growth. And the best time to absorb calories that will go towards muscle protein synthesis and restoring glycogen that you've depleted from your workout would be post-workout. So I can see why this could actually be a legit question that someone is asking. So from that point of view, you could argue, yes, it is potentially a good post-workout meal if your goal is to bulk up, if you're a hard gainer, and if you have a hard time putting on weight. Now, my answer that I would prefer to give would be no, it is not an ideal post-workout meal, and that is simply because more often than not, pizza is not really a good source of protein, unless you're getting like double chicken or something like that. But for the most part, it doesn't really contain enough protein. So that's one flaw. Second flaw, post-workout, you kind of want something that is just protein and carbohydrates. So you can get your protein hit, all the amino acids that you need, and you can get your carbohydrates that replenish the muscle glycogen and spike your insulin to help shuttle those nutrients into the muscle. Pizza might have a lot of carbs, but it's also very, very high in fat, which is not really a macronutrient that is ideal to have post-workout, simply because it's only going to slow the digestion down. I'm not saying that you can't have fat post-workout, because the overlying factor is still calories in versus calories out at the end of the day, and what your total macros are at the end of the day. But ideally, it would not make sense to have pizza post-workout just because of the fact that it contains so much fat and that's only going to slow the digestion down. So the best option and the best scenario, instead of having that pizza post-workout, it would be to look at your diet from an overall point of view. All of the meals that you have during the day, however many meals that is, make sure that all of them together contain protein, and all of them together put you in a calorie surplus if you're trying to gain weight, or if you're trying to lose weight, put you in a calorie deficit. But to argue the fact, is pizza a good post-workout meal? I would argue the fact that no, it's not, unless you have a very, very hard time putting on weight and your goal is to bulk up. But in saying that, I would still recommend that you follow a more structured diet where you're meeting all your protein requirements over the day and you're consuming adequate amounts of calories in all of your meals and not just having that big post-workout meal. So that is my answer, and I hope it helps you understand a little bit better, and I hope you can go and make the logical decision and not go and get pizza post-workout. But since we're here and I've just finished training and it's my post-workout meal right now, I'm going to invite you guys along to see what I get post-workout. So let's head our way over there, eh? Hello, how are you? Good. Do you mind if I film this for my YouTube channel? Okay, post-workout, can I get the Berrylicious today, please? Yes. 2, please. Sorry, do you want a post-workout? You sure? Yep. Awesome. Thank you very much. So, post-workout, what I like to do is 1, I like to make sure I've got a good source of protein. So they put whey protein in my protein shake. 2, I want a fast absorbing carbohydrate. So I usually go for the pina colada drink or the Berrylicious drink. Reason being is because it's got a lot of fruits and sugars. So I get that fast uptake of sugar to replenish the liver glycogen that I've depleted through my workout. Once I've consumed this, I'll wait around 2 hours, maybe 3 hours at most, before I have my actual post-workout meal. Come forward a little bit. And my actual post-workout meal is where I more so focus on a good source of protein and then a more complex source of carbohydrates. For example, rice or sweet potato, and we'll go get that meal right after this. But for now, we'll wait for my amazing Berrylicious protein shake. And the reason that I do get 2 protein shakes is because instead of putting 2 scoops in one, I like to just have 1 scoop in each and get double the amount of drinks.
What do you think is the maximum time when you finish your workout that you are allowed to eat? You know what I mean?
You got ask me to camera?
Yeah, it's inside.
Still going? Yeah.
Yeah.
So there is no anabolic window as such. It's not like if you don't have a meal with 2 hours or 3 hours post-workout, you're not going to utilize those gains. But it just makes logical sense. After you've trained, you're depleted, So you want to fuel your body right away and get those amino acids in. So I think the sooner that you can have your pre-workout meal, the better it's going to be. But let's just say, for an example, you had your post-workout meal 1 or 2 hours after you've trained, and you did that for a year, you're probably not going to notice a visual difference at all. But I still like to have my post-workout meal ASAP. Pre-workout meal, obviously you don't want it right before, because if you have it right before, all that food is in your digestive system, and all that blood's going to your food. Therefore, when you are training, the blood's not going to the muscle, and you want that blood in the muscle. Ideally, you want to have your pre-workout meal an hour to an hour and a half before, so you can digest all that food, and some of that food makes it into your bloodstream and your muscle glycogen. But what's more important than the pre-workout meal, thank you very much, is actually the meal or the meals before your pre-workout meal, because that is when you essentially store the glycogen that you're going to be used for the workout. So it's kind of like the 2 meals prior to the pre-workout meal that is the most important, and then your pre-workout meal, you want a good source of protein and carbs, but not too big so there's so much food in your stomach. That's what I do. This is my pre. But I need to pay for it, because every time I come here, I get protein shakes and I leave without paying. Forget to pay. Yeah, we're filming for YouTube, because you make the best shakes for us, yeah.
Promote the shop?
Yeah, we'll promote the shop. What's it called? The Wasted Bar. So if you ever do come to Binos here in Dubai, you have to come to the Wasted Bar. And then amazing Jazzy over there will make you the best protein shake. And sorry, what was your name again? Diane? Diane. The best protein shakes in the world. You can't beat them. Thank you very much.
So how do you structure your meals? Like now, obviously you did 2 shakes, and now they're preparing your meals here. After that, like how many meals do you eat per day after that?
So always, my whole lifting period in my life, I've always had 6 meals a day. Sometimes I've gone to 7, but for the most part, it's been 6 meals a day. 7 a.m., 10 a.m., 1 p.m., 4 p.m., 7 p.m., 10 p.m. Now, sometimes I'd have it a little bit earlier than 7, because I'd wake up at 5. Sometimes I'd have it a little bit earlier than 10 p.m. or a little bit later than 10 p.m. I wasn't exactly specific with the times, but those were the rough times. Now, my goal is not size anymore. I just want to look good. I just want the perfect, ideal, athletic, muscular body. Now, I've changed my diet around many times. I've done 4 meals a day. I've done 3 meals a day. I've done more fasting and less fasting. Obviously, I've done keto. I've done many different things and trying and finding what I like and what works the best for me. I love fasting. I feel so good when I'm fasting. I feel so clear and mentally productive in my mind. I can focus, I can concentrate, and I can get a lot of work done. However, when I train fasted, I know my performance isn't as good. So, taking all of this feedback into consideration, because I want to fast and because I want good training sessions, what I now do is I basically just skip breakfast. And I fast until my pre-workout meal for the gym. Now, I know I previously said that the most important meals are kind of the 2 meals prior to your training, which I do not have anymore, but that is because there's a trade-off. And that trade-off for me is I enjoy being in a fasted state. My training is not as important as it was a couple of years ago when I was trying to put on size. What is important for me right now is my business and growing my business and just being mentally clear and mentally focused on work so that I can execute at a high rate. So now I will fast until around 10 or 11. I'll have my first meal, which is something small, and then I'll train roughly 1 hour after that. After that training session, I'll have my post-workout meal, which you see right here, which is 2 protein shakes. I have 2 because it's essentially just fruit and protein powder, so very low calorie. And then I get another probably 3 meals after this. So I'm having roughly about 5 meals per day. And that's what I'm enjoying right now. I'm not too strict with counting calories. I don't even count calories anymore. I just know what a good meal is. Like, I'll have a meal of 200 grams chicken, 300 grams rice. I'm not just gonna keep piling my plate. And yeah, I think at the end of the day, it comes down to consistency. If you're consistent with that and it works, you'll get results. So that's what I'm doing right now.
Some people like to push carbs till the end of the day. Some people like to do carbs at the beginning of the day. Do you have any thoughts on that, or it's all the same?
Yeah, there are pros and cons to both. Some people like pushing their carbs to the end of the day, which I can see makes sense from the point of view that when you do have carbs, you get that brain fog, you get lethargic, that insulin, they make you tired. So if you only have protein and fat in the morning, you still feel a little bit switched on and sharp. It's almost like mimicking a fasted state somewhat because insulin levels are not as high. Now, there is the vice versa, and people have a lot of carbs in the morning, and they do that to basically fill themselves up with glycogen, so when they do go to the gym, they have better performance. Then later on in the day, they just consume protein. Maybe after their workout, they've had their carbs and fueled their body. So I can argue it from both points of views. If it was me and my carbohydrates were restricted, I wouldn't really focus on the morning or the evening, but what I would focus on would be pre and post workout. So carbs pre, carbs post. And then the other times of the day, I would not have carbs. If my goal was to keep carbs low, that is. So that's my opinion on that. Hello, how are you? Thank you. That's very brand new. It's like 3 days old. Oh, that fish. Can I get this fish here, please? Yeah. So the meal after the post-workout meal, good source of protein and a good source of carbohydrates. So I'm going fish, white fish. I'll go 200 grams of fish, please. So look at this, they've even got lobster here. And the good thing with Binos, they weigh all your food. 200. And I'll get 250 grams of the white rice. 250 grams, please. Now, I kind of usually get a couple meals here, so I want another meal of protein and carbs. So usually I'll get prawns if they have prawns. Oh, they do. And I'll get this prawn as well, 200 grams. Separate bowl, please. I like the fish because it's a lean source of protein, same with chicken. I don't usually like steak or anything post-workout. I love steak, and steak is the majority of what I eat, but it's usually for a meal not close to my post-workout. And I'll go 250 grams of white rice, please. Yeah, I like something fast than me. Like, realistically, you go a year with having steak post-workout compared to fish, zero difference. Like, you're not gonna know, there's zero difference. But for myself personally, I just like something fast. Quick, simple protein carbs, and then later on the day, I do like to keep my salmon meals or my fatty steak meals with like vegetables. So not really with carbs or with rice. And that's how I've always done things. Takeaway, yes please. Thank you very much. See you later. Just like that. I got at home. Thank you though. Yeah, I like to just let my first meal digest, and then I like to have this one as soon as I can pretty much. Because this is where I get all the carbs to replenish the glycogen. Where the protein shake was just kind of like berries, doesn't really replenish the muscle glycogen, more so just the liver glycogen. So yeah, about 2 hours, 3 hours at most, and I'll have my next meal. All right guys, done and dusted post-workout meal. We're gonna make our way home now. And don't forget guys, the most important thing to getting results in the gym is always gonna come down to your diet. So if you do need help with a meal plan or a workout program for that case, link is down in the description down below. See you in the next video.